Key building, you know he's on top. Million subs, he never gonna flop. Out of Chicago, where the streets don't sleep. Betting on games, making cash real deep. Crystal ball for sports, he knows the lines. He's a sports aficionado, the money he finds. From football to basketball, he's always on point. Predicting winners never disappoints. He's got that hustle, that Chicago vibe. Making moves on the streets, cash on the side. With E, you know it's always a bet. He's the king of the game, never forget.
Hello and welcome to the Etoft21sports show for August 6th. How is everyone doing? My name is Eric. I'm the man behind Etoft21sports. Absolutely loaded episode for you today. My boy Jim, aka XFL Jim, is coming on, and we are going to talk the AFC East. We're going to give you a betting preview for that. I will be sharing which player you need to fade. But before we get into all that, we need to go to Gino's horse racing bet of the day from Del Mar.
We got a best bet coming for you Thursday, August the 8th over at Del Mar. Remember, we're at drf.com for the past performances. Anytime you need any help playing the races, just head to drf.com. McLaren Vale is going to be the heavy favorite in race number 1 on Thursday. I thought the number 4, Arrogant Spirit, pretty interesting. You start going through this horse's overall form race by race. First 2 starts were not bad. Then back in October of 2022 at Keeneland, he was on a sloppy track, or at Churchill on a sloppy track. And following that, he was off from November of 2022 all the way to February of this year. He showed back up in February. He's raced 4 times, 3 times on the dirt. He has 2 wins in the second, beaten just a neck, and he was really good last time out. He just missed, so he'll make the 3rd start of his form cycle now in a race where there's just not much. You have the big class dropper from the rail, then a lot of other horses that just are kind of in and out form, and everything about the 4 Arrogant Spirit makes sense. If he's anything around 7-2 or above, I think that's fair value, and he's 6-1 on the morning line Thursday at Del Mar in race number 1. Best of luck, folks. We'll be back here each and every week with a best bet for you in the world of horse racing.
Make sure to give my boy Gino a follow at It's Me Gino B on social media. I'm going to be on his podcast later in the week talking some NFL. Now let's shift our attention to the fantasy football spotlight. The player that is in the fantasy football spotlight is Mr. Achin. Right now, Devon Achin has an ADP of 25 RB11. Let's kind of take a look at his year. Got hurt in the preseason, missed game 1, barely played game 2. Then had an insane 3-game stretch, scoring 51.3, 27, and 21 fantasy points respectively. Got hurt game 4, came back in game 11, played the Raiders, had 1 carry, got banged up again, missed week 12. Then week 13 had 25 versus Commanders. Week 14 through 16 averaged 8.4 points, then had 23.7 points in week 17. In 12 games, he put up great numbers, finishing as RB24. But let's take out that 51.3 points he had. We do that, he finishes as RB39, right above Antonio Gibson, and is only averaging 13.9 points a game. The 51.3 points is skewing all his stats. The Dolphins' offensive line is worse than it was last season. Hunt was top 10 run blocking last year. He's gone. The majority of Achin runs were behind him. Mostert is coming back. We need to remember they used a high draft pick on Wright from Tennessee. I don't think we're going to see Achin as much as we did get as many touches. It wouldn't surprise me if Wright takes over more of the early down work. So when I put all those factors together, that is why we are fading Devon Achin in fantasy football, and that is why he is in this week's fantasy football spotlight. Now, let's bring on the man, the myth, the legend. We already have people calling for him in the chat room, all the way from the hotbed of Omaha, Nebraska. My boy, XFL Jim.
What is up, Eric?
How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Long days. I like your A-Chain take just because I feel like even at 100%. I feel like at best case scenario, Miami wants to do running back by committee anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what McDowell's been saying. He's been talking about like, oh, it's going to be more of a committee. We don't know what's going on. I don't know. Like, I just kind of feel he's being over. That's a second round, dude. That's literally the second round. Why are you going to be drafted?
I think he's a good spotter for a DFS play. You just got to kind of find the week for it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure. But your offensive line, no, for those who don't know, Jim is a huge Miami Dolphins fan.
They're my team. Definitely a step backwards.
So it's going to be really juicy. When we talk about them, yes, Sports Facts, new background, decided to change it up a little bit. You know, every year I'm changing up the background. This year I decided to go with a nice little football field, did the red outlining, going to be putting with the shows feature where we're going to be talking about it. I'm getting a little crazy, buddy. I'm going outside my comfort zone. And for Jim, I don't know if you knew this about me. I struggled in art when I was a kid. Art was a struggle.
Eric, I don't know if you knew this about me. I struggled in art as a kid.
Oh, dude, in college, like we had to do this thing with visual marketing where we had to draw like a marketing thing. I almost failed visual marketing because of my shitty ass drawing skills. That's how
I cannot
bad.
draw to save my life. Can't paint, can't sculpt. I can't do any of that. If it wasn't for like Photoshop and some 3D modeling software and figuring out how to do stuff in that, I'd be a talentless hack, like more so than I already am.
Dude. So we're here to talk some AFC East. We're going to go through the teams, how they finished last season. So we're going to start with the New England Patriots. 180-1 to win the Super Bowl, 100-1 to win the AFC, 25-1 to win the AFC East, to make the playoffs, plus 900 to miss the playoffs, minus 1,800, over under a 4.5. Jim, how'd you like that cutscene right there, buddy? How'd you like that nice little cut?
That was good. That was smooth.
That
was real smooth, Eric. You're real smooth with it.
Dude, I'm trying, man. I'm trying, dude. This is year 3, dude. You know, I'm trying to expand the game a little bit.
I like it. I don't like the Patriots, though.
Why not?
I feel like they're in the process still of rebuilding. I like Jacoby, but you spend a pick on Drake May, I feel like you're going to have to see what you can get out of him. He's going to get a decent amount of play. I like the guy. I don't know. I have not had faith in the Patriots for a while.
So here's my take. This is the end of the era. No more Belichick. Mayo's taken over. And we really don't know what we're going to have. We had probably the best defensive coach and the best game planner in the history of the league. Gone now. And how many holes was he band-aiding? We need to remember, like, they easily could have beat the Eagles. Their schedule last year completely just fell off the rails. And if they would have won some of those games, maybe Belichick's still there. Maybe Mac Jones is still the quarterback, but they didn't. We don't know what's going to happen with the quarterback position. Is it going to be rookie Drake May? Joe Milton is getting a lot of buzz. You and I both do a college football show. Make sure to check out every Wednesday night our college football conference previews, doing the, oh my God, what are we doing this week?
Big 12, baby.
Sports Facts, dude. Sports Facts. You can hear me talk about OK State. Joe Milton, I think that's going to be a mistake, or Jacoby Brissett. All these guys have big arms. Offense is going to be very conservative, though. They're going to look to run the ball, a lot of short passes to get the ball to the wide receiver in space. Honestly, with what I'm reading, how much they want to run the ball, I doubt we see a quarterback have over 26 pass attempts. Offense is going to run through Stevenson. They're going to be switching to an outside zone running, which actually fits his skill set better. Defensively, really the only person they have is Judon as a pass rusher, and he's holding out. Rumors are he's going to be traded to my Detroit Lions. They have a good run defense, but they can't get to the pass. If the pass rush can't get home, the back four, except for Gonzalez, is going to get eaten alive. We also need to remember that Stevenson is coming off an injury. I think he's going to be a great flyer in fantasy football.
Mm-hmm.
But I have concerns about their offensive line, namely the guard position, to take anything with the season-long bets. My thing is, I think we're going to see how good Belichick is. I always kind of go through their schedule, kind of map out their wins. I got him with 3 wins.
Yeah, it was hard for me to come up with wins. I couldn't find very many, dude. I had him around 3 or 4. It's going to be a rough season, I feel. And maybe if they're lucky, Drake May comes in partway through and he like looks good in losing efforts, and then you have hope for the future.
I mean, that's just kind of sad, but
what do you think about the rumors about them getting Ayuk? They're in the runnings too.
Well, I think Ayuk sucks. Like, I think he's one of the most overrated players in the league. I think Brandon Ayuk is just absolutely terrible. Anyone watching this, name me one team that in the NFL that is sitting back, hell, even the CFL, and is going to say, you know what, dude, if we had Brandon Ayuk, we'd win a goddamn championship. Like, literally, like I do not get this obsession with Brandon Ayuk. I for the life of me, I don't get it. Like, what has anyone been watching these games? What the games that San Francisco lost last year, every single one of them except for the Super Bowl, what did it have in common? No Deebo Samuels.
I was gonna say no Deebo. Ayuk was your number one option.
Yeah. And now you're like, and the 49, did you see what the 49ers from the Steelers want? George Pickens, who I'm not a fan of either, Freiermuth, and a first-round pick. In what world?
Dude, if they could get that, though?
Brandon Ayuk, worth that. Literally, in what world is Brandon Ayuk worth all that shit? And, like, the Cleveland Browns are rumored to make a trade for him, and someone's posted, like, who's going to stop this offense? Amari Cooper is a better wide receiver than Brandon Ayuk is. I hate to break it to everybody. He's 30, I know.
I think he's a good wide receiver, too. I think he's a fine wide receiver, too. I don't know if he's great.
He's great at being mediocre.
Like, he's an all-right wide receiver, too. I feel like maybe the 49ers just do that to certain players is they elevate them and make them look better than they are because they have the other weapons of like Deebo and McCaffrey. So everyone else looks better, like just with those weapons drawing all the attention.
I will say this. I was like, I always mess around with X. I'm on Twitter way too goddamn much. And this one guy from the Cleveland radio could have been the smartest guy I ever heard. He goes, I don't get it. Why are we mortgaging? Our window is now, and this isn't the guy that's going to put us over the edge. And I agree with him 100%. I don't think people realize, and I know we're supposed to be talking the East, but I just want to say something about the Browns. The Browns are close, man. They're not that far behind. And putting Ayuk there isn't the piece that's going to take them over the edge. I don't know, man. Like, I think Ayuk's going to be for a rude awakening if he does get traded to New England. Like, look, dude, you want to be the man. Now you got a shitty ass quarterback. Good luck with that, bro.
It'd be funny.
What do you think I would?
I don't want to touch anything with the Patriots, though.
Oh, God, no. The only thing I would want with the Patriots is if I could get Stevenson in like the 6th round of my fantasy drafts.
I'm trying to look real quick. What's Drake May's rookie of the year?
Oh my God, dude.
Oh, it's only 22-1. Screw that.
Rookie of the year.
He's plus 2,200.
That's it?
Yeah.
Dude, that's awful.
Offensive rookie of the year.
22-1, that's it?
That's what I'm seeing.
I'm seeing a 35 on Caesars.
That's still not that's around what I would. That's a little better.
Yeah, I think this is a team but this is going to be a team that's going to be so overvalued that there's going to be betting opportunities in them to bet just because of people's perception. We need to remember betting is buying low, selling high, and we're going to have some chances to buy low on the good old New England Patriots.
How do you think their defense is still going to be like this season? Because I think that's the thing that'll keep them in a lot of games, and that's what they play weird. I feel like what they did last year really well was, even though the offense was terrible, they did a really good job of bringing teams down to their level. If they can keep that up, they're going to get a couple teams.
But they don't have Bill and Steve.
Yeah.
And Steve's the DC at Washington now. What Steve was able to do, that's Bill's brother, in the defense, especially the back four, disguising the coverage, mixing half the field man, half the field zone, middle of the field zone, outside man, was just insane what he was able to do. And now both those dudes are gone. And Jujan, who's their best pass rusher, wants to get paid. I think they're going to be great against the run, but look, I got some concerns about the New England Patriots. I think they're going to regret letting our boy Belichick go. Yes, I'm in a sweatshirt. It is so goddamn cold in Chicago right now. I have no idea. I went from 90 degrees.
It was a chilly day. It was a chilly day here too.
It was like 62 here, and I am freezing. I am literally freezing my ass off right now. I got sweatshirt and sweats on. Cool, Kev. What is up, my friend? Appreciate you for tuning in. Anything more on the Patriots, my friend?
They're kind of a weird wild card team that we just don't know anything about. That's the last bit I want to we don't know. I think they're going to be really bad, but they have the weird, if you're a Patriots fan, you have to be like, oh, I don't know. We're an unknown. We could be really good. We don't know. You're going to probably be bad, but you don't know.
So for those who haven't watched our college football show, Jim always bets on a team to lose every single game. I am pulling it up right now.
Let it be the Patriots. Let it be the Patriots, and I will be so fucking happy.
The Patriots are... Where are they? They're only 20-1.
You know what? Still might be worth it to throw $10 bucks.
They have the lowest odds to go to not win a game. Them and the Panthers. Oh boy, how the tides have turned. The Jets.
That would be crazy.
Bills, Pats missed the playoffs, leaving the door open for the Raiders. Cool, Kev, dude. If you missed the AFC West preview, one of my bets was the Las Vegas Raiders to make the playoffs at plus 340. I'm going to be a Raiders fan. I'm going to be a Raiders fan this year, and I hate it. I hate the fact I'm going to be a Raiders fan. Let's shift our attention over to the New York Jets. 20-1 to win the Super Bowl, 11-1 to win the AFC, plus 180 to win the East to make the playoffs, minus 175, plus 145 not to make the playoffs, over under 9.5. I'm going to say this. My futures last year with the Jets, under wins, not to make the playoffs, Rodgers under passing yards, Garrett Wilson under receiving yards, were effing phenomenal.
Yeah, you had that 10 minutes into the season.
I got it one play into the season. That was I loved it. I loved it. What do you think about the Jets?
Again, great defense. Their defense is phenomenal. I think it's going to be really good again this year. They have weapons on offense. Obviously, Aaron Rodgers, if he makes it the whole season, is one of the better quarterbacks in the whole league. How's the offensive line is my question for the Jets. That's my big question. And I don't know. I can't. Cool Kev in the chat said I can't trust Rodgers, but I just can't trust the Jets organization to do good things. I like the Jets to miss the playoffs at plus 145. I'm not lying.
Okay. I mean, for me, it comes down, do you trust a 40-year-old coming off an Achilles injury to do something a quarterback has never done, been successful? That's the question.
I feel like with all these old quarterbacks, except maybe Tom Brady, you see every single one of them. You saw it with Favre, you saw it with Breeze. They eventually just hit a wall.
Oh, yeah. And they just fell off. They fell off. And I agree.
Like they were fantastic one season and then just.
And then, where's my mouse here? I agree exactly 100% what Cool Kev is saying. The season is hanging on by. I mean, like, really. And, like, honestly, you can't trust Rodgers.
Who's their backup?
Oh, my God. Who's the dude who was the start? Tyrod Taylor. Nate Hackett is the worst OC in the league, and he's the play caller. But let's be honest, Aaron Rodgers is the one calling the plays and everything. This offense is designed to throw more than run, and we've already seen there's timing issues. Aaron Rodgers and Garrett Wilson have gotten in numerous disagreements on the sideline. Basically, it's the play is called. Basically, like the play is called, and what coverage the defense has determines the route the wide receiver runs. And if the wide receiver and the quarterback aren't on the same page, there's going to be disaster. And that's what's been happening in minicamp. Jets' offensive line was a weakness last season. But I'll tell you what, I think they addressed it, and I think it's going to be one of the better ones, which is huge for Bryce Hall, who is 4th in the league in yards. But we have Aaron Rodgers, who's a glory hound or whatever, who's notorious for changing plays. Are we going to see him still have those touchdowns? Because Aaron Rodgers, he has a lot of short touchdowns, and he did this in Green Bay a lot. They'd get down inside the 5, he'd audible to a pass, and he'd throw it in for a touchdown. Are we going to see that? Also, when we look at Hall's production in fantasy football, 47% came from the passing game. There's a downgrade in quarterback last year, so a lot of swing passes out in space. Now you got Rodgers allegedly being healthy. You brought in Mike Williams. I mean, he has an ADP of 4, RB2. As crazy as it sounds, I want nothing to do with Priest Hall this year just because there's too many questions. Passing game production goes down. Maybe it's not as many touchdowns because Rodgers audible into a pass. I'm out on Breece Hall this year, my man.
Maybe, but also this is just me in my, like, I'm not the fantasy guy that you are, but my dumb fantasy brain was just like, well, Aaron Jones was always really good for fantasy for the Packers when Aaron was there. So I'm like, well, if he can get involved for maybe he's like the short yardage pass guy. If Breece Hall, maybe he gets a little PPR act. I don't know. I don't know if I'd take him number 2. I don't know if I'd take him where he's being drafted, but if he falls, maybe. I don't know.
If he falls, yeah. I mean, but at 2, I'll take Jonathan Taylor. I'll take Bijan. I'll take Jamar Chase. I'll take all those guys.
Okay.
Guys, my new fantasy football rankings come out Thursday. Make sure you check that out. Etoft21sports.com. Shameless little plug right there. Getting Williams in the passing game is going to be huge. It's going to stretch the field. It's going to open up stuff for Wilson underneath. When you look at everything on paper, this offense is loaded. But do we trust Rodgers to stay healthy and not play hero ball? I've never been a fan of Saleh as a head coach. I am thrilled my Lions did not hire him as a DC, though. I kind of like him. And I think the Jets finally have the pieces for this defense. The big thing is you need to be able to generate pressure. They brought in Reddick from the Eagles. They drafted Johnson and McDowell 2 years ago. I think these guys should be able to get the quarterback with the style of defense. It obviously puts pressures on the DB. Gardner, who's been elite since he's come into the league. Reed had a good season last year. But the other DBs and the safeties are the worrisome. Clark is coming off an ACL injury. I don't know what we're going to see with the safeties and the other DBs not named Reed or Gardner. Every year there's a team that the masses love. It seems to be the Jets and the Falcons and the Texans this year. Could they be solid? Yes. But I'm not betting my hard-earned money on a 40-year-old quarterback coming off a major injury. I want nothing to do with him. But I will say this. Week 1, fading the Super Bowl loser the last 24 years. 79% against the spread. I'm going to be taking the Jets plus 5.5 at San Francisco. Hope I can get a 7, but yeah, that's my only thing with the Jets.
You nailed it on the head when you're just like, on paper, this theoretically should be one of the better teams in the NFL, but it's all reliant on Aaron Rodgers being 100% healthy the entirety of the season. And like them gelling, like they still haven't played any meaningful snaps with Aaron Rodgers as the starting quarterback.
And we've seen Rodgers throw a hissy fit when receivers don't do what they're supposed to do. And it's going to be interesting. Like Allen Lazard is just kind of there. The only reason Allen Lazard was there is Aaron Rodgers. Is Lazard going to have a good season just because Rodgers knows him? He's going to be throwing to him.
Hey, put some respect on Iowa State legend Allen Lazard's name.
But no, I'm just saying, like, that's kind of the way you have to think, because we need to remember when Devontae Adams first started, Rodgers threw him 2 balls deep, wide open. He dropped both of them. And Rodgers demanded he did not play the rest of the game, got him buried on the depth chart, didn't come back until there was injuries. So, I mean, this is a petty dude. Like, if Garrett Wilson runs around route, Mike Williams, he has a history of getting hurt. You know, like, could we see Allen Lazard develop into something? I don't know.
I'll probably, I will tell you this. I'll be picking Allen Lazard in at least one fantasy team.
Like in a best ball, like round 14, I think it's great. One of your last picks, getting a little bit of them. I think there's great value there. Now, this is where the show should be interesting. Now, I was going to use a different pick, but I wanted to give you a little respect. There's your boy. Dolphins, 22-1 to win the Super Bowl. 11-1 AFC, 2-1 to win the AFC East, make the playoffs. Yes, minus 155. No, plus 135. Over under 9.5.
That's a tough number. That's like right around the right number, I feel.
You know, hey man, this is your platform right now. You know, before I break your hopes and dreams, I'm gonna let you have the mic, my friend.
Well, I'm gonna hit you with something a little interesting, Eric, because I'm thinking the Dolphins. People aren't believing in them. They finished the season pretty abysmally last year. I feel like we're in a good bounce back spot. Again, Tua did get paid, so there's a little worry with that. But they're gelling right now. Everything's coming together. We're feeling it. We're going to have the season of dreams. And the bet I'm going to make, Eric, is that the Dolphins make the Super Bowl, but that's not the bet. That's not the bet. Because if the Dolphins make it all the way to the Super Bowl, you know what's going to happen. I want to bet Tua to MVP. 2,200. I bet Tua MVP plus 2,200. I'm also like Cool Kev did say, like however many yards. I will also correlate with that. I'll bet Tua most passing yards as well. I like that one a little bit better.
I could see that. I could totally see that.
Oh yeah, 100%. That I like that one better. Yeah, my favorite bet's Tua passing yards, but I am betting him MVP as well. Instead of Dolphins to win the AFC, I'm gonna do Tua MVP.
I'm gonna make a shirt that says Tua hater. And I'm gonna
Can you make me one that says Tua-non?
No, I'm just gonna make one that says Tua hater. That's gonna be my new shirt. That's gonna be my new shirt design. Simple thing that McDonald is doing. He's surrounding Tua with space and he's trying to get the ball out of his hands as quick as he can, give the playmakers the ball in space, and not let Tua's poor footwork mess up anything. Sorry, don't Don't mean to be a jerk.
And
Tua led the league in passing yards last year. 47% of that came after the catch. So a lot of the stuff, short passes, underneath.
so you're saying most of it comes before the catch, though. It's okay. I get yeah. Makes sense.
But what? It comes after the catch, though.
No, 47% came after the catch. It sounds like a majority comes before the catch. If you're
Okay,
no,
fine.
that's
If
just
you
basic
wanna- if
math
you wanna
thing
look
here.
at it
I
like
don't know
that,
about you.
That's fine. That's fine. Do we trust Tyreek Hill? He led
What do
the
you mean?
league in receiving yards last season. But this is the stat that stands out to me. He only played over 75% of the snaps in 5 of 16 games. That's not that much.
Nope.
He's 30 now. This is when we tend to see wide receivers take a step back. He hasn't shown any signs of slowing down, but we need to remember it's not like he is an elite route runner. It's not like he's a big guy that can go up and high point a ball. He's just fast. You know what I mean? And when the wheels fall off with him, they're going to fall off. We got to kind of think of Russell Westbrook in basketball. Westbrook is so athletic. When his athleticism dropped, he just fell off the face of the horse. Eric getting a Hackatoo. Oh, God, that's pretty good. Hackatoo. But you know what I mean? When they fell off, they fell off. And I think we're going to see the same thing with Hill when it declines. And when that does, we need to just go all in on Jalen Waddle, because I really think we're going to see Waddle completely take off. Now, my first bet, I have a wide receiver last year who had 5 games when he played over 75% of the snaps with a history of injuries. And when we look at their schedule, he has a history of cramping up when they play in Miami. 3 other first 4 games are in Miami. And a history in December doing bad in cold weather games. Their 3 last road games are all cold weather teams. So the beginning and the end of the season, historically, he hasn't done well there. He had not 1, not 2, not 3, 4 kids last year. I almost said last semester, with 4 different women. So he's got some off the field stuff. Okay.
He does not care about those kids, Eric. He does not. He's got like 16 kids. He doesn't give a shit.
Also, stop. He's talking about wanting to be a porn star when his career is over.
Now, why not?
Dude, we're starting the football season, bro. You could talk about that in May, June, right after the season's over in February. Oh, sorry, for the Dolphins, right after the season's over in January. But in training camp, at the beginning of training camp, I don't want to hear you talking about wanting to be a porn star.
Would you watch it?
And now he's 30, Jim. I'm betting under 1,375.5 yards for Tyreek Hill.
I don't hate that bet. I think Waddle could get up there, though. I think Waddle, like he says, Tyreek's more reliable than Waddle for now. Waddle has that potential.
I like
the
Waddle.
opportunity.
I
love Waddle.
And I did hit his under receiving yards last year. So now I'm going to Tyreek just because I don't trust him. Like with his history, I don't trust him at all. I'm worried about your boys' offensive line too. When Armstead plays, they're lights out. When they don't, he struggles. They also lost Hunt, who was one of the right guard, and Williams. I feel because of that, the line's going to be taking a step backwards. O-line is very important. Obviously, they need to protect Tua, who doesn't have the best footwork and a history of injuries. Now, in terms of the running game, 6 in rushing yards last year, but only 15 rush attempts and had the most yards per carry. They ran this wide zone, which got Mozart and A-Chain in space, and most of those runs were behind Robert Hunt, who was top 10 in PFF in run blocking. Hunt's in Carolina now. So I think not having Hunt there is really going to hurt this rushing game. Now, when Connor Williams left Dallas, their offensive line, their run production went down. He's just leaving Miami too. So I think they're going to go down there too. With all that being said, I bet A-Chain under 750.5 yards rushing. Good 4-game stretch. O-line's going to be down. They have Mozart. They drafted Wright. I think he's going to be fighting for carries. Also, I think they're going to have to throw more because defensively, they're going to be taking a step backwards. They lost one of the best defensive coordinators in the game in Fangio. The Fangio second-year bump is proven. They bring in Weaver from Baltimore to be the DC. They're going to be more 3-4, and they picked up Campbell. And I'm sure everyone's like, oh, great. Campbell's a huge pickup. But you lost Wilkins, who is one of the best defensive line run stoppers. He's in.
I'm so sad for that. I was so pissed.
He's up in the Raiders right now. And you pair him with Crosby. The Raiders have one of the best defensive lines in the NFL now. And when you lose someone like Wilkins, that is going to be huge. Also, where's the pass rush? You have Phillips and Chubb coming off an ACL and Achilles injury. That means you're going to be relying on old man Shaq Parrott and rookie Chops Robinson to get to the quarterback, which I'll be honest, I don't trust. I think the Dolphins will struggle defending the pass. They lost Howard. And look, was Jalen Ramsey good a little while ago? Yeah. But he's old now. He's not as good as he used to be. And if you don't have guys getting into the quarterback, this is going to expose a lot of the holes in the back four that the Dolphins are going to have. So I have a offensive line's worse. Defensive line's worse. Back four is worse. Dolphins not to make the playoffs plus 135.
The doubt only makes us better.
Dude, all my bets, I'm not going to lie. I have 3 bets for this episode. All of them are right here for your Dolphins, dude. And I am sorry, my friend. All of them were for your Dolphins. Every single one was for your Dolphins. I am sorry, man. I don't mean to be a hater.
You're just expecting a step back, which is natural because you're a hater, but also a lot of the telltale signs of an actual step back are there. I just have faith. I have faith in the coaching staff. If there's A-Chain receiving props too, I might take those just because they are going to be, in general, throwing the ball so much more. Because you said, I as high as I am on the Dolphins and being a homer and everything, that defense is still not going to be good. So they're going to be throwing the ball like crazy.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it would be great if somehow all 3 of my 2 unders hit, you're over on Tua passing yards hit. That'd be phenomenal.
Actually, I mean, it could happen.
Next, we're going to the team that broke my heart. I'll tell you what, when the Bills were struggling, I took them, I had them to win the East, make the playoffs, go to the Super Bowl, win the Super Bowl. And I had some insane prices. I think I had them 10-1 to win the East. I had them 6-1 to make the playoffs. What was it? 22-1 to win the AFC. And then I had 60-1 to win the Super Bowl. Broke my heart, but I just still made some money. Right now, they're 16-1 to win the Super Bowl, 8-1 to win the AFC, plus 200 to win the East. Make the playoffs, yes, minus 175. No, plus 140. Over, under 10.5. Talk to me, Big Dog. What do you think about the Buffalo Bills?
This has to be their year, right? I don't know how you feel about them, but I've talked with some other people, and they're getting a little hot on McDermott right now.
Yeah.
I feel like this is kind of got to be, if not now, when?
I agree 100%. I feel like windows close quick, and who knows? Their window could already be closed.
And the way Josh Allen plays, there's still, as much as I love Josh Allen is it was top 2 quarterback for me, just entertainment wise in the league, if not number 1, just for pure entertainment. But the way he plays ball, he's toeing the line for getting hurt, seriously injured. So I don't know.
Here's my question. Since taking over as a starter, he's averaged 23.8 fantasy points a game. which is insane. What round would you take Josh Allen?
It depends on what kind of league.
Just like a PPR league. Round 3, round 4, round 5?
I'd probably take him as QB like 2. If I'm going for quarterback early, I'd probably take him round 3, maybe round 4, somewhere around there.
That's like
I'm never a take a quarterback quick guy, but if I am, I'd probably go 3 or 4.
Neither am I, but I kind of feel with the change in fantasy football that we've kind of seen over the last years, we need to get to that point where these elite guys, like if you have a chance to get Hurts, Mahomes, Allen.
If I'm reaching for them, I'm taking them round 3.
I think you got to pull the trigger. Brady took over from Dorsey. We saw Cook average 5 more rushes, 7 more touches a game. But the thing that we really saw was them cut their turnover rate down by over 60% because Allen threw more short over the middle, wasn't taking the deep throws, and they're using Allen actually more to run. That's why it kind of makes sense what they did. They brought in 4 guys that can stretch the field. This is going to open up the middle for Kincaid and Shakir. They have 317 abandoned targets. What's an abandoned target? A guy that was on the team isn't there anymore. So like you have Dave Gavis, Stephon Diggs, all those guys are adding up. They also brought in Curtis Samuel, who's going to be a great gadget player over the middle. So I kind of think those are going to be the guys we need to look at in terms of fantasy: Shakir, Kincaid, Curtis Samuel. But we need to not get it twisted. This offense is Josh Allen. Everything runs through Allen. And Brady has said that this is his offense and they need to make him as comfortable as possible. But he can't turn the ball over. I mean, he's had some awful turnovers. And it's going to be interesting to see year 2 of this offense, or year 1.5, because he took over midway through the season. Is that going to continue? Are we going to see him not turning over the ball? Because this offense ticks when he doesn't. You know what I mean? I think that's the key right now for the Buffalo Bills.
That's a weird tightrope that they have to walk because, yes, you don't want to turn the ball over, but you also don't want to pull the reins in and not have him be comfortable and free to do what he wants. It's a weird tightrope walk.
It's it's just got to be the right balance, though. You know what I mean? Because just think of when they're in that losing streak, how many plays were over because Josh Allen had a turnover.
Yeah.
Allen is Dan Marino. Yeah.
I think Allen, I mean, he doesn't have the accolades, but I think Allen has a way more vibe of Brett Favre.
Okay.
Of just a fuck it, do whatever and just toss the ball, real gunslinger mentality. He'll throw it anytime.
In fairness, though, I could not see Josh Allen sending inappropriate pics to a female reporter or stealing from the homeless.
If you really think about it, it's probably the biggest comp to Brett Favre is actually probably Deshaun Watson.
Probably. Diggs is great, but I think it was time for him to move on. I think the marriage had run its course. I think it was time to move on. O-line, a little bit worrisome, but Allen should be able to band-aid the holes they have. Bills don't like to blitz. They lost Floyd. Floyd had over 10 sacks last year, having 10.5. They need someone to step up and create pressure. Von Miller, AJ Espesin. Who's going to be the guy that creates pressure? Because McDermott, who calls the defense, he doesn't like to blitz. One of the things I'm learning is all these coaches now like to drop everyone. They like to create natural pressure. And with the back 4 that lost pretty much everyone, if you don't have those guys that can create pressure, it's going to make life a living hell. It's going to make life a living hell for the back 4 because you need the quarterback to go through the progressions. As crazy as it sounds, I was trying to talk myself into the Bills not making the Super Bowl this year. Not making the playoffs, excuse me. But
I was going to say.
No, not making the playoffs, excuse me. But I have too much faith in Josh Allen. Like, I think Josh Allen is going to be able to get them over that level. But when you kind of sit back, offensive line issues, don't have an alpha wide receiver, defensive line, who's going to be the pass rush? How are they going to create pressure? Losing pretty much everybody in the back four and who's that guy? White? White's not there anymore. Their back four is completely dismembered. This team has a lot of questions, and it's really going to be interesting to see how it all unfolds. And it's kind of weird, like when you look at it, and I've done all my team previews, and the Bills fit in this category, like the Bills, Ravens, 49ers, all these teams that have been the elite of the lead the last couple of years. This is the most questions they've had going into the season. And because of that, I kind of think it makes it a little bit fun because we have a little bit more questions, if that makes sense.
I think I agree with that. I think this is a very interesting year for the NFL where the tiers are kind of like melting together a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes it for exciting to watch. Looking at my previews and previewing this division, I feel like this might be a potential like pretty down year for the AFC East.
I think, like Cool Cup said, I think they get one team in. I think they get one team in the playoffs because
the Dolphins, yeah.
Sorry. I was laughing so hard I started coughing. But no, I agree. I don't see a world where there's going to get multiple teams in. I just don't see it.
The only way I see it, if like the Jet, or say one of the Jets or Dolphins starts super hot, and then the Bills are just like the Bills, and Josh Allen makes something happen. The Bills win the division, but one of those two other teams like had a good enough start to the season that they can kind of survive the fumble of the late season collapse that at least the Dolphins are known for. The Jets have just been generally bad.
Yeah, it's just I don't know, man. Like when we kind of like, I think we need to remember how good the AFC North is, how good the AFC West is, and then you just kind of have the South and the East, which I kind of feel are one playoff teams. And all the other playoffs teams are gonna come from the North and the West. So I don't know. It's gonna be interesting. You know, obviously we'll have to have a little bet on Dolphins making the playoffs just for the fun of it. Jim, I'd like to thank you for coming on during your awesome time in lovely Omaha, Nebraska. Why don't you tell everyone where they can find you on social media and everything?
You can find me everywhere at XFL Gym, people. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Twitch. Live stream CFL games every once in a while. Might give a shot to do the Indoor Football League Championship this weekend. It's a good time. You can find me and this guy Wednesday nights for the college football tailgate and Spring Fever.
Yeah, you know, I'm with Jim a lot. Really enjoy working with him. Having the privilege of knowing him for a couple of years now, and you know, we're going to do some college football stuff, college basketball. We're just going to keep it going. We've been working on some new ideas. So, you know, looking forward to it. And, you know, we'll be live on Saturday also sharing our bets for the weekend. So make sure to check that out. And, you know, I'm here to hate on Tua, man. I'm working on design in my head right now.
Hey, 2-on will stand strong forever.
Make sure to give my boy Jim a follow. We'll be back next week with my boy Sterling from Silver Star Sports previewing the AFC South. We'll see you guys next week.